let's talk about some tools of ethical hacking. This is one of my faves. One of my favorites is using Google Dorks. If you type in Google Hacking Database into your search window, Google Hacking Database, and then click on Google's Google Hacking Database, the first page that will come up is Google Dorks. And in Google Dorks, they use these search operators that you see here in advanced ways to find things like interfaces of routers and other control devices that are exposed to the internet, protocols that shouldn't be exposed that are exposed, and so on. This type of technique is very useful, not just for Google Dorks and finding interfaces and so on, but it's also very useful for your own search themes and needs. So open up a tab, go to google.com. Let's go to Google. I'd like you to try this out. And what we're going to do is we're going to find a term and use an operator to limit the search. So for instance, let's type in IoT space, and then see right here where it says site colon, don't put the brackets, just site colon, no space, Microsoft.com. Hit enter, and every single Google result will be only from Microsoft.com. And so if you want to search a specific site, I've worked with many websites that when you search inside the website, you get really horrible results. But if I use the site colon operator and search it from Google, I get great results. So you can take each of these, search in caches, search for links to a web page, search in the title, search for in a specific URL, even location, and there are even other operators that you can use. And these help to really define and refine your search and even create extremely complex queries. And as an ethical hacker, it can help you find vulnerable targets. Other tools that are of the trade, this is Web Data Extractor. And what it does, it helps you extract a bunch of metadata from web records, including like email and phone and fax, from the website, keywords, and so on. You can also get whois information of your target, grab IP address information, DNS information, and contact information. There are other tools that are very nice to use. This one's called Tracert in Microsoft. It's called Tracert. Traceroute is the entire term, and you can see it's used over here. And what you can do is find out how many different routers and what the IP address or name of those routers that you use to get to a location. And so you can see all the different internet providers and so on that show up as traceroute is used. You can also, for regular traceroute, it uses the ICMP protocol. ICMP is the same protocol that's used for pinging. A lot of times organizations block ICMP. So what you do instead is you use TCP. Most organizations don't block TCP, and this is TCP traceroute. And in this case, instead of using ICMP, you can see which servers TCP goes through, and same with UDP traceroute. You can use both of these. So different ways to do some mapping of the routers in networks. One of the most important tools that you need to get to know as an ethical hacker, and you'll see this in your lab also, which is Nmap. Nmap helps you find live hosts, ports, services, applications, filters, firewalls, operating systems, versions, and it even has a scripting engine that has all kinds of extra extended capabilities to help you pull up information. Nmap, super cool app. Absolutely recommended that you learn it. The next one is Megaping. Megaping scans resources. It does port scanners, TCP, UDP ports, IP scanning, NetBIOS scanning, etc. That's Megaping. We have Unicorn Scan. This is a little scanner. The OS of the machine, you can identify it. Looking at these TTL values. There are other tools Of the ones that I see located here, probably the second most important one would be HPing3, but NetScan Tools Pro and Port Scanner and Network Monitor from PRTG and Protocol Analyzer from OmniPeak, very good scanning tools. The next we look at some enumeration tools. So a command that I would recommend learning how to use, and there are really only a few iterations of this, so it's not too difficult, is NBTstat. This is looking for Microsoft networks at NetBIOS over TCP/IP, and you can get information on services on the network using NBTstat. So this is another one I would recommend getting to know. A NetBIOS enumerator is another tool that you can use to get this information with a graphical user interface. There's Global Network Inventory, Advanced IP Scanner, Hyena, NS Auditor. So lots of different tools for Microsoft networks that are running NetBIOS. So we see that there are many things we need to think about as ethical hackers. There are methodologies and terms that we need to know so we can identify attackers. There are classes of hackers, and some hackers are employees, and some hackers are attackers, and we need to know the difference. And we talked about reasons for ethical hacking and how it is different from threat actors and attackers, and that's important to know. And we talked about why learning and why ethical hacking is needed. And then what we did in the end is looked at some of the tools of the trade that you will use as an ethical hacker. And that brings us to the end of this module. In the next module, we're going to look at detailed information on security threats, detailed information on vulnerability, and we're going to look at malware. So join me for the next module, and that brings us to the close of this module.